right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Doing another tech talk. So grab your beverage. We're about to talk some news. Great Lakes Burning River, really delicious. Ohio made. Pretty popular with me. So anyway, tech talk. We're going to be, sorry in advance, Apple fans, we're going to be bashing Apple around. Apple's been in the news a lot lately, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're talking about iOS 8.2, which came out, small update, it's less than 300 megs, and it had some usual fixes, but it also added the Apple Watch support. Now, I guess before we get into this, I am, as usual, not a Apple supporter. I have my Samsung Galaxy Gear, which is wonderful and has this outstanding battery life and just works perfect. And as an IT guy, like most IT guys, we're not fans of Apple. Apple makes beautiful products. They're stunning. I love their construction. Their operating system is just fine. It's very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing, but it is a closed ecosystem. And there's not much flexibility for high-tech end users like myself. So the Apple Watch, first off, the Apple Watch is a problem. You've got the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod, the iPod Touch, every other device, and the this and the that. Why on earth did you call it the Apple Watch? Everybody wanted you to call it the iWatch. Call it the iWatch. It's like, that just blows my mind. So we'll talk about the Apple Watch first. Which Apple Watch is right for you? Now we'll talk about the Apple Watch. It looks just wonderful on here with this sort of chain. You've got different bands that you can have. It looks pretty good. So far, you got these leather bands, and this one's got a metal band, and this is the sports one, which is nice. And it's got all these accessories, which look pretty good. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to the news, there's three types here. We've got the Apple Watch, which comes with this nice stainless steel band. We have the Sport one, which is made of anodized aluminum, and it comes with a rubber band for sportiness. And then the Watch Edition, which is 18 karat gold and all that good stuff. And I think this one is like a few $1,000s or something like that. I don't know if they'll give me the price. Looks pretty good. Like I had mentioned, very aesthetically pleasing product. They've got all these different bands, and it looks nice, but of course no prices because it's still in the works. So you can probably pre-order these, but those are the three watches. Price ranges from $349 to $10,000 for this big money 18 karat gold version over here. I think the Sport is the one that's like $349, and it has limited features and other things like that. The thing that kills me is the battery life and the thickness of the band. Now the thickness of my band is pretty good here. I'm opening different programs. The thickness of my band here on this is half of what the Apple Watch will be. It's like 9 millimeters. The other one's 18. It's big. The new Apple MacBook is skinnier than that. There are laptops that exist that are skinnier than this watch. So the watch sits very high, and a lot of smartwatches do that nowadays because it's new technology. But it's very, very disappointing. How can a watch that's almost 2 years old, like my Gear 2 Neo, be thinner and cheaper and better and have a better battery life than this? Now with Apple, their first generation products are miserable. No cameras, no other things just like this. No cameras, no other things like that. It's a very miserable product. You can't make phone calls on it. I don't even think it has a speaker on it. So it's like, it's disappointing. So I definitely won't be getting one of these. As any first generation product with Apple, they limit it very much. and accordingly so, just to gauge interest. And interest has shown. I've read a couple articles over the past couple of weeks that say between 65 and 75% of people that are on the internet that are looking at this do not care about this Apple Watch, and maybe you're one of them. Let me know. Apple Watch. I think it's a load of junk. Especially the battery life. Battery life is 18 hours. Doesn't even last a full day. Doesn't matter which one you get. The battery life is 18 hours. What happens if you have a longer than an 18-hour day? And what happens if your average use is more than that? Will you get less than 18 hours? Maybe you might get a little bit more than 18 hours. But come on, a watch that doesn't even last a day, that costs at baseline $350? That's disappointing. This watch, the Gear 2 Neo, has just tons of features, tons of apps, its own app store. I've been super satisfied with it. You can make full-blown phone calls on it. I never have to take my phone out of my pocket. And it costs $200, and it lasts 7 days. So it just blows my mind that Apple does this. Now, Apple, is out there. They used to be a company that set the bar. They set the standard for here's what's cool and here's what's good. And now, I think they're definitely losing ground on that. So that's the Apple Watch. I'm not gonna talk too much about that. So we'll kill that article. We'll kill this article. Next, we'll stay on the Apple topic. Here's the new MacBook. The MacBook had aired the same time as the new Apple Watch. It's 13.1 millimeters thin, 2 pounds, and it has a 12-inch Retina display. Now, Apple likes to use the Retina word with all of their devices for this revolutionary screen. It's not so revolutionary. It comes in 3 colors, just like all the new iPhones and iPads and other iDevices do. It comes in the space gray, the gold, and the silver. Notice back here, like our normal MacBooks, this is apparently so thin that you can't have the usual illuminated Apple logo. It's got your usual keyboard, which is good. The disappointing thing is the resolution. The resolution is truly not 1440p. 1440p, by definition, is 2560 by 1440p. This is just under it, which is slightly disappointing. The aspect ratio is also off. Who watches anything in 1610 anyway? It's not. You're going to have these goofy borders on the side like I have on this 21 by 9 screen. But yeah, 16:9 is the standard. So it is a thin laptop, but for some reason they only put 2 ports on it. 2 ports, that's it. It's got one on this side, which is the new USB Type-C, which is wonderful. It's omnidirectional. I'm very, very excited for it. It can charge. It has all these new power parameters and other things like that. It can do a lot of things rather than just data transfer. But the problem is you only have one of them. On the other side, there's the other port, and that's strictly headphone. So you can... First of all, this is like a $1,200 laptop, which is way too expensive. You can get a laptop that's better than this for half the price. And it only has 2 ports for some reason. You can fit an HDMI on there. You can fit an OTG port. You can fit so much more, but why? Why not? So you have to buy an $80 adapter. Let's say I want to charge the thing because it only has an 8-hour battery. And I want to connect it to a different display because I know a lot of Mac users connect their Mac to a different display when they're at home. And I want to plug in a USB port, just a standard USB. I don't have a new USB Type-C drive. Nobody does yet. How can I do that? Well, you can't. The adapter that you buy is $80, and it lets you do a couple of things, but it doesn't let you do many things. So you could plug in another display, but not charge. You could charge and use another USB, but you can't do all 3. And it's just a big shamble. I don't think it's going to sell too well. And also, a lot of other companies that are out there, PC makers, are just mocking the crap out of this horrible MacBook. Lenovo, for example. Lenovo, last year, their Yoga Pro, even their Yoga Pro 2 is still thinner than the new MacBook, and it has all the usual ports. It works as a transformer tablet. It has charging ports. It has USB 3.0, 2.0, and HDMI, and the usual ports. It boggles my mind that Apple would come out with this $1,000 plus device that doesn't have a nice display, that has this odd resolution, that's not even that thin, and the Yoga Pro 3 is, 0.62 pounds heavier. Not heavier, it's 6.6. The Yoga Pro is 0.62 pounds lighter than the Apple. So it's like, you come out with this revolutionary device, but it's not revolutionary. And of course, everybody claims that Dell and Asus and Lenovo, for example, there's no $79 dongles required. You're fine. The Dell XPS 13 is heavier and thicker than the MacBook, but you do get 2 USB ports, a mini display port, an SD card reader, and a whole bunch more. The XPS 13 is virtually borderless. It's got almost no bezels at all, but it has 5.7 million pixels. It's such a better display than this Retina display that Apple keeps, cheering about, and it has almost 2 million more pixels. Now, it is a 13-inch versus a 12-inch, but that still doesn't make up the million pixel difference. Asus, same thing. They have their UX305, which came out almost 6 months ago. It has a wonderful 1080p resolution. It doesn't get into the 1440. It doesn't have an odd aspect ratio. It's got micro USB, 3 USB port, or micro HDMI, 3 USB ports, SD card readers, all the usual things, and it's still thinner than the new MacBook. And all of them have better batteries. So it's like, Apple, just get out of here with that crap. Let's not talk about Apple. It's getting me riled up. I can barely talk about it. One more Apple thing though. 10 things that iOS 8 got wrong. The immediate locking with Touch ID. Touch ID is lame. Nobody uses it. The people that do use it, there's just, okay, you can not type in your password. But, if you still, by the time I type in my password, and by the time I hold my finger on there for 3 seconds to scan the thing, I'm not gaining any time. It's just this like cool new little feature that's not time saving or not really functional. Grouping notifications by app, I don't like that at all. All or nothing location permissions, always and never should not be an option. I should be able to control all of it, but keep in mind, Apple is the closed ecosystem. So you can either have all location permissions or no location permissions. And then, while you're using the app, you can enable location services, but there definitely should be a little more customization to that because a lot of new apps now definitely use location services. No mute or toggle on the lock screen. That's disappointing. You have to, open your phone, unlock it, then mute the phone. No keyboard size options for non-optimized apps. So, there are some apps that you open up that are, small and they're formatted horribly, and then you open the keyboard and the keyboard takes up half the screen and it doesn't optimize accordingly. Impatient camera timer, bright distracting and battery unfriendly push notifications. That's not a fan of me. Propping up Apple Maps. Apple Maps is just horrible and it always will be, but they just keep trying and trying, and it's just not good. Apple is definitely riding the struggle bus. So let's get into more stuff. We'll talk Pebble. Along with the iWatch, they've got this new Pebble Time, which is a new Kickstarter that's gaining momentum. It's doing pretty well, actually, for some new Pebble stuff. And after Apple's event that they had, the new smartwatch Pioneer was drawing a funding rate at about $6,000 per hour. So Kickstarter, you've got this Kickstarter that lasts 30 days or whatnot, and you get about $6,000 per hour. After the event, it rose to about $10,000 per hour and capped around $16,000 per day during Apple's event because people would go online. I don't know what this stupid message is. People would go online, they would look at this new thing, and it's like, oh gosh, this new Apple Watch is just absolutely horrible. I'm going over to Pebble, and I think Pebble's doing a pretty good job, along with Samsung, and Google and their new Android watches are doing a pretty good job at really chipping away at what Apple has to offer. And it's a little disappointing. Apple is normally the first comer. They're the first comer in the market. They got the first tablets. They got the first, you know, real thin devices. They got the first all-in-ones. They got the first of a lot of things. Portable music players, other things like that. But how did they miss the bandwagon on the watch? They're like Christ, even Microsoft has a fitness band or like a little notifications band. So it's a little disappointing. A little disappointing. Okay, more Apple. There has been news that Apple apparently wants to buy Tesla. I think that's a load of crap. Elon Musk dismissed all of those rumors. It's just internet rumor mill crap. Shareholders, are just, these wealthy people that, believe what they see on TV and whatever they hear on the internet. And I think they jumped on it too. And they're like, yeah, buy Tesla. I don't think people understand. Tesla is not for sale. Elon Musk is filthy rich, richer than any guy at Apple. And, he's got way better ambitions and way better things going on with his companies like Tesla and SpaceX and, whatever else he owns. And he's simply not for sale. So that, pretty much fell out of the news pretty quick. Will Apple make a car? Absolutely not. Maybe they want to catch up with Google because Google's kind of doing that, and a couple other companies are starting to get into the whole automated car business. But I don't think that Apple will be on that bandwagon anytime soon. So we're just going to dismiss that in itself. Oculus. Let's get back to Oculus. Love it. Working on getting my hands on one. It says that it may not launch in 2015. That's fine. I don't think it was ever expected to launch in 2015 anyway. I'd say mid-2016 personally, from what I've been keeping an eye on for the past year or so that I've been keeping an eye on Oculus. I don't believe that they'll launch in 2015 anyway. And everything is going horribly right. It's not going horribly wrong with the company. They're doing things very, very well. Their DK2 headset is selling, it's constantly out of stock. And it's only a developer kit. What other developer kit that you know of, is always out of stock and has a month-long waiting line? So I think Oculus is doing very, very good. There's some new games that are coming out with it. They're going to do a whole booth at South by Southwest. I wish I could go, but I'm not full of money and I have a job and responsibilities. But I will be probably doing another tech talk after SXXW is done, so we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Cortana. Love Cortana. Love the idea. I've got Windows 10 on a test bed off camera, and Windows 10's good. I like Windows 10. That might be the operating system that makes me switch here from my Windows 7 main battle station. It's pretty good, and Cortana is fine. It's very nice. It's appealing. It's better than Siri and Galaxy's ugly girl that they got. I think it does a pretty good job. But Mike, this is kind of Microsoft's way of saying, hey, we know we suck. Let's give in, and nobody's buying the Microsoft phone, and Windows 10's not out yet. So let's make a little bit of money on this. And they released Cortana as the voice assistant for iOS and Android. We don't know too many things yet, and they've done this artificial intelligence research project called Einstein to help out Cortana. So I've got a couple hopes for that. I'll definitely look into that once that really invades Android. Speaking of Android 5.1 is out. It's got some new features. Silent mode I'm very happy about. Death to crappy Wi-Fi. And that is an exclamation point right there on crappy Wi-Fi. Android is now smart enough to realize when there are dead Wi-Fi connections. A Wi-Fi connection can exist but broadcast a dead signal, and it will understand that and not connect accordingly. Also, really, really crappy, just piss poor signals that are coming from routers and other things like that and access points. It just will stay away from, and in good reason. I mean, they've got a lot of these connectivity clients where if your 3G and 4G and LTE services are faster than the Wi-Fi, it's going to keep you on LTE. If the Wi-Fi is faster, it'll connect to Wi-Fi. So these connection engines, not agents, are starting to be a little bit better. You can do VPNs. You can do a whole bunch of other stuff now. You can practice safe smartphoning with anti-theft and a whole bunch of other things. And the notifications are even smarter. But here's the problem with Android 5.1. I read the other day that Android Lollipop is only used on 3% of all Android phones. There are just billions and billions and billions of Android phones out there. How is only 3% of those users on Android 5.0? Obviously, if you buy a Nexus device, you'll get it, provided that the carrier is good enough to give it to you. But even myself, I've got the Note 4 I just picked up. Man, is this phone kick-ass. It finally got 5.0, 5.0.1. And I'm going to be doing a review of that whole phone and the operating system later. Of course, that's skinned over with crappy TouchWiz. But I think the big problem with Android in general is, and this is something that Apple does better, I'll admit that, they never roll out updates. Android gives the updates to carriers. Carriers just piss around and just fuck around and, scratch their ass and just wait and wait and wait until we're on Android 7.0, and then they'll finally release it. Once they've skinned it with their crap, Sprint this or Verizon this or AT&T crap or Samsung's got their crap TouchWiz on it, and it's complete garbage. I also did hear, and I didn't pull this up on an article, Google is thinking about becoming a wireless carrier. With all their infinite might and infrastructures that they have all across the United States, it makes perfect sense. Why not be a wireless carrier? Why not set up a couple awesome LTE towers or partner with other local carriers or big companies to create your own wireless network? And then you can push out updates, and then you can really, really just start stabbing Apple in the back with I have the better phone, I have the better operating system, I have the better network, I can do it all now. So I'd be interesting to see that. I'd be very interested in seeing this. But the point here in this article is, please, carriers, release the updates. When iOS doesn't update, everybody gets it. The carriers don't have an option. Apple gives it out. They give it to everybody. The phone's the same. Verizon can't bog it down. These phones aren't filled with bloatware and other things like that Google does. The iOS is straightforward, and it's simple, and it's stupid, and it's this wonderful little closed ecosystem. But when 8.0 rolls out, the adaption rates were wonderful. 8.2, whenever these updates are out, the adaption rates are absolutely fantastic. How many phones are still running Android 4.0 or 4.2 or 4.4? It's just horribly disappointing that there's no adoption rate to this wonderful operating system like Android 5.0 Lollipop. And last but not least, since this will be on YouTube, we're talking about YouTube. They came out with this mind-blowing 360-degree videos. And that's cool because, and I'll try to show this to you the best I can. We'll show you like this guy down here. He's walking through, who knows what. I'll try to get this a little better quality. I don't know what's in crap quality here. But you get a little bit better quality, and it's got this little bar up here, a little navigation bar that I can rotate the camera and watch that guy, and I can rotate, the video's still moving, we're still moving forward. But I can, completely look at every single thing that's going on in this three-dimensional camera view, and that's pretty cool. I mean, they've got a lot of night scenes and other things like this from Las Vegas. Oh my gosh, that is in 1080p? That just looks that bad. We can look around Las Vegas, and that's cool, and I can control that up and down and look at the guy, and there's a lot of things that I can do with that, and that looks cool. But how many people own cameras that can do 360-degree views? That's just, okay, great, you've got this 360-degree view thing, and that's fine, but how many people and how many companies are out there that are going to be putting out 360-degree videos. It's cool. I hope that there are a lot of companies out there, sports companies and you know other event makers and other things like that. Maybe some channels that I like to subscribe to that'll come out with a 360-degree video. But there's a lot of people out there that have like this wonderful setup, like maybe I do, and then off camera over here, it's just full of junk and boxes and other things like that, and just crap that I haven't cleaned up in like 2 weeks. So we'll see how far that 360-degree content goes. So that's the news, guys. I'm going to finish my beer here in a minute. Let me know what you think. Feel free to start a conversation. Argue with me if you're an Apple fan. Let's do it. Let's argue. Let's talk. Let's talk about the new Apple stuff and what they're coming out with and why 2 ports are better than 5 ports on a laptop. So give me a shout if you want to talk about anything. As per usual, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Questions or comments, leave in the section below. I'm going to start titling these videos rather than Tech Talk 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm going to title these so that they kind of have a brief description of, hey, this is about this and this is about that. So we're going to start doing that. Other than that, guys, we will see you in the next one. See you around, guys. Thanks.